When will we see you back on the court?
I don't know. I mean, it's an injury that obviously I've never had before, and it's tough to gauge. You know, I'm pushing it pretty hard this week, and you know, every day I wake up and see how it feels and try to push it some more. And we're trying to be smart about it and try to be patient about it.
When you do come back, do you think you have to alter your game, or will you be the Black Mamba we know?
I don't know. I'm ready either way. You know, if I do need to adjust my game and change certain aspects of it, I'm ready and willing to do that.
Kobe Bryant recovering from the torn Achilles. Skip Bayless, what was your takeaway from that interview?
Stephen A., I watched the interview live with Craig Sager last night on TNT, and I found it very poignant. I think I expected to hear the Black Mamba, and I heard more of a very human Kobe Bryant. And I heard deep concern over an injury that he's run up against for the first time in his life, late in his career, that's starting to kick his behind a little bit. It's tough. And he was basically saying, hey, this might, I'm reading between the lines, might be even bigger than I am, because I'm such a believer in Kobe, in the Mamba, that I expected through the offseason he would attack this thing, that he would defeat it. And that's what we heard from him early on. I got this. And there were some suggestions that he could be back by opening night. And obviously he was in the second row, and I heard a guy who's starting to accept his mortality in basketball life a little bit more, that this is going to be a tough one. And they said yesterday he's still on the anti-gravity treadmill running, which would suggest to me it's still a problem, because he didn't want to put any weight on it yet. So he's not even on a ground running program yet. So you said Christmas, and I compliment you on that, because you were way ahead of anyone to say, hey, let's hold off until December 25th at the earliest. And now I'm saying you are dead on about this one, because now the Mamba's up against something that even the Mamba can't just snap his fingers and overcome. And that's an Achilles injury that we've seen slow a lot of great players later in their careers.
You got to remember, he's not just trying to come back. He's trying to come back and still be one of the greatest players we've ever seen in this game. And so there's a standard that he holds himself to, and that's what Kobe's alluding to. There's no doubt in his mind that he could come back by Christmas and play the game of basketball. But can he play it on a level we're accustomed to seeing him play this game? That's the question mark. And I think that when he taking care of his body the way that he does, understanding and inhaling the challenges that come with it, he's keenly aware of what kind of challenge it's going to be, what kind of challenge it's going to require, what kind of tenacity and effort he's going to have to put forth. And like you said, it's a tough one. That's why I said all of this talk. I mean, the only person that came out and talked about opening night was Jim Buss. Yep. Shows you how clueless he is, okay? So, I mean, it's just further evidence, just another nugget of evidence that's there. Then you have to take into account the fact that even if he does come back, you're talking about him playing in Mike D'Antoni's system where he's going to be required to run. Then you lean towards what we saw last night with these Los Angeles Lakers, these young boys that want to run and want to jack up shots. Well, if you're going to play, you have to remember, we saw last year that slowing the ball down, putting the ball in Kobe's hands might win you some basketball games and make you a playoff team, but it's not going to get you but so far. And Kobe's smart enough to know you're going to need these young bloods to do the kind of things you saw them do last night, which means that it's incumbent upon him to acquiesce and capitulate to them to some degree, as opposed to everybody doing it towards him. And so all of these things are entering his mind, because he's looking out there and he's saying, I'm going to have to run, going to have to jump, going to have to do some of these things that are going to be a challenge. I think he's up for it. I think he'll overcome the odds. But at the same time, I don't mind him looking at his mortality. It is his 18th season.
I know.
He did contemplate whether this was going to be his last. He has compiled over 51,000 minutes in his illustrious career. He's put a lot of mileage on it, and so he's just being honest about the challenge that he's faced, but by no means is he succumbing to it and acting like it's not something he's going to overcome.
Okay, question. If this team continues to have some early season run and gun success, How well do you think Kobe, let's do Christmas Day or night, how will he mesh with this group?
Well, first of all, I think he'll mesh with them just fine because, Skip, you have to understand, his game isn't predicated on athleticism and trying to attack the basket and take you down low. For the last few years, Kobe has been launching perimeter shots. Yep. And so what you have to acknowledge is the fact that this game actually fits right in to the kind of game he brings. I mean, Xavier Henry or Jordan Farmer or guys like that, do you really think they're going to take playing time away from Kobe Bryant? Let's not be ridiculous here. And so really you're understanding that Mike D'Antoni is coaching sister. I give, again, it's just one night, but I actually give the man some credit. Yep. Because if you've got some guys that can shoot the basketball and can run, that not only plays into Mike D'Antoni's system, but based on the roster you have in place, that's their best ingredient for success. And also, let's not dismiss something here. You had Pau Gasol with Dwight Howard last year. Dwight Howard, the one impediment in his game was his inability to hit free throws. Well, you don't have that problem now. Plus, you have Gasol with a Jordan Hill who was hurt last year and a Chris Kaman. Yep. You have three legitimate guys, 6'11" and above, capable of playing that system. So to me, it's going to work wonders for the Lakers if Kobe's able to come back. I don't think it's going to require a huge change. I think Kobe will adapt to it and excel and prosper with it.
Gentlemen,